Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Activate and Illuminate podcast with Mel. I'm your host, Mel. Together, we're going to be diving into some stories of ordinary people doing a little bit of extraordinary things. People who've maybe pushed their bodies, their mindsets, or maybe society's paradigms. So you're going to find yourself maybe wanting to laugh, cry, or even be inspired. We would invite you to share, like, and subscribe, to sign up for our newsletter as well on activateandilluminate.com. Now, just keep in mind that this information that you are going to hear is informational and educational for entertainment purposes only. This does not constitute professional advice of any kind. The views expressed are those of myself and guests only. Listeners are encouraged to seek professional and legal advice regarding their own situations. So, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. And thanks again for being here. Thanks for joining us, guys. So today you're going to hear a story of a lady that immigrated over 30 years ago from Poland, about her life, her experiences, some of what she has seen happening there, and some of what she sees happening here. And so I want you to just listen with an open mind and an open heart. She is a lovely lady from the East Coast or East part of Canada. And I think that she has a lot of wisdom for us. Tune in. So Teresa, welcome. I'll let you explain
Thank
your
you.
last name, and welcome to the Activate and Illuminate podcast.
Thank you for having me, Melanie. My name is Teresa Wawrzycek, and I would like to share my experience, how I escaped Poland and landed up in Canada.
So tell us, how long ago was this?
I left Poland in 1986. I was
Okay.
25 years old. I was invited by my friend on 3 months visa to the US.
Okay.
During this time, like during my childhood and early adulthood, the system in Poland was a communism.
Yeah.
So I was raised and born and raised in this system. So I know how it works, what it does, what constraints it put on every person. And I can share this with you, and then my journey, how I ended up in Canada through US, and how this opened up more horizon. It shows me more possibilities, more options, and better life finding
Okay.
Canada with me and my family. But that is a long journey.
Yeah. Well, so tell us what life was like in Poland and why you were leaving Poland.
Life in Poland was very hard mentally and physically. Physically, because the goods available were very limited. Like, for example, stores only had vinegar. Plenty of vinegar, nothing else all the time. And on certain hours, they, for example, brought the bread. So we knew that like at 7 o'clock in the morning, the store is going to open and it's going to bring the bread. Like we can buy some bread. So 5 o'clock in the morning, I went. My mother sent me. I was small. I don't remember, maybe 7, 8. And I was standing in a line and waiting for the bread, to buy the bread. When the time came, there was nothing. Like few people before me were served, and that was it. And that wasn't many of us. It was few people, but not that many. So even basic item like a bread, you can't buy. It's not like you go here and you have 10,000 of different, I'm just kidding, varieties of bread. There was one,
Right.
and not even this. So I came back home with nothing. I was little and hungry. I wanted the bread. Only few people, like the communists, had access to everything almost, and they could buy stuff. The rest of us were like limited. We could buy stuff as it came and in very limited quantities and varieties. So that's how it was. And I knew there is a different life in US, Canada, and different countries. I knew people could buy. So I thought, the moment I'm finished with the university, I try to get out and see how the world outside of this looks like. And that's what I did. I was invited by my friend and I left Poland. I didn't know I'm going to leave it for forever almost, physically, because mentally I am still with Polish people. and I love Poland. So it's not that I just cut my tie, that all of my family is there, my two brothers and sisters and everybody. So they're all there, but I had to go and I had to do what I had to do. And I would not do it differently. If I look back today, I would do the same thing.
How has life changed since you left in Poland for the Polish people?
So when you leave your own country that you know your people, you know your circumstances, environment, you're going to very different country, that different system. You're going to capitalistic country from socialism, communism to capitalism. So then you look and see how it is. So you see that materialistically, capitalism is abundant in everything. You can have your own faith, your own God. Nobody's stopping you. This was years ago. It might change, it might not, hopefully not. But so you good physically, materialistically, and you good spiritually in your spirit, because you can have your faith, you can believe in your God. And when you work hard and you smart, like working hard and being smart is even better. Like, but if you, for example, working hard, but even you're not that clever, you can still do very well in capitalism. Each of us has a different, unique abilities, talents. And if we have the right conditions to develop it, we can, all of us, despite any of our constraints, can contribute very valuable values that are very good to a society, make it more stable, better. So from this perspective, I had to go through different obstacles. I had to learn English. I went to school, learn computers. All of this, it's new. Some stuff, it wasn't new, because I still believe in my religion, my God. I was always at telling the truth. Like I can't lie. If I lie, you're gonna know. Okay? I am the way that if I say a lie, everybody knows. So I can't say it. I can't say it. That's how I am. I think it's creator that does it. God makes you more or less prone to this, but I am very strict. Like I have to say the truth or say nothing. So if you compare, the question was, you compare how there are pros, more pros than cons, obviously, to the system I left, because I would not stay here and not try to immigrate to Canada, because it's a lot of obstacles you have to go through. But at the end, it's worth. Like, you look back and you say, yeah, this is good, what I did. Despite mistakes that you might make during the road, path that you choose, you still doing good. Like, it's more better than worse.
This episode brought to you by protandemcanada.lifevantage.com. What if you could turn on your body to work like it was supposed to? What if you could have it remember how to handle toxins, stress, and the environment like it used to when you were young? What if it worked for your pets too? What if this is not about supplementing something that is missing, but activating something that has gone dormant? About actually turning on your body to make these things again. Learn how to activate your body now. Check us out, protandemcanada.lifevantage.com.
So you left Poland. How did you, when you came to Canada, you sound like you have an innate sense of truth in you. Tell us how you learned to trust. It sounds like you already learned how to trust your own voice. But did you find anything difficult in the transition and in trusting everything that you were being told and in the new system?
Despite what system probably I end up in, I will still keep saying the truth or say nothing. How I learn it? I was born and raised as a Catholic family.
Okay.
My parents were Catholics. This taught me to say the truth, treat other people as I would treat myself. There are certain basis principles that you need to follow, and that would make you so you don't hurt anybody else. You go truthfully in your life. Even sometimes if you say the truth, but you need to say and it will hurt you, you need to say it, because otherwise it's not going to do any good to anybody. You're just going to fool people if you lie.
Yeah.
Even if they want to hear it, I think it's better to say the truth, to say how it is, than to lie, because some people don't maybe know it's the lie. So they believe the lie is the truth. So saying the truth, and some people know and they know it's a lie, but that's okay. You just have to the truth over the lies. So the religion taught me this. My parents, they were very faithful and they were attending church and believing in what they were doing and showing us their examples as an example. And I thought, no, this is good. There's nothing wrong with this. So I continue visiting here. We are assigned to the church in first, I was attending one in U.S. Then, when I came to Canada, I also joined the church. And there is no better or worse church, and there is no better or worse God. If you have certain principles that you don't hurt each other and you trust yourself, follow the principles so no one else is hurt, and you try to move forward with your life, I think you're good, regardless of religion or belief. But I have to say that if I pray, God helps me, gives me more clarity, direction sometimes. So for me, it works. It might not work for everybody, but for me, it does. So it's a choice. Your faith is a choice. Like everything else in life is choice. And as long as we have this choice, freedom to choose, we have freedom. And if we don't, the freedom is diminishing.
What are some ways of diminishing freedom that you've experienced?
Any kind of restrictions that are put in place, like I'm not saying about speeding, because speeding is actually good. You shouldn't be speeding. So some of these bills and regulations, these are necessary to create a stable society. So if I go 50 and somebody's go 100 in the 50 zones, it's not allowed, and that's good. But there are limits to what you can put on each one of us. If you start violating our civil liberties, which are guaranteed by God, but they are also introduced and have foundation in British North American Act 1867, Magna Carta, first Magna Carta 1215, Bill of Rights 1960, and common law. This is a very good foundation in Canada. Actually, I'm amazed how our people prior to us, how they did it. And it's actually, they did it in a very good, solid way. So our liberties are preserved over the generations to come. Now, if you start bringing and introducing bills and regulations that are contradicting any of this, for whatever reason, this is attack on our sovereignty, on our freedoms, on our liberties. So we have to be cautious of this. All of us, these people that are on the top in the politics, like parliamentary people, member of parliaments, and us, because we are giving the member of parliaments messages if we like some bills and regulation or we don't, and why not. So if they see we don't like it, that they work for us, they should be able to present our view in a parliament and have a vote. And we're still in democratic system, so that's good, because the bill of or regulations that is not good, very good for the society, are voted out. So it's still working. We just have to make sure that our member of parliaments have our support and know what their voters' views are. So I think this is important. And if we keep doing, like, freedom is not something that is given forever. It needs to be cherished and watched. And we have to be on guard. We have to really look and see, is this going in a right direction? Is this country doing still democratic? What makes it less democratic? What makes it more democratic? So right now we are still in a democratic society, but we just have to watch and make sure it stays that way. And it's not, we need to keep the house clean.
Do you think the last few generations that haven't experienced war the same way, do you think that we have become complacent in freedom?
I think what's happening, we started to become complicit because of the fear. There are different factors that bring the fear. Like, for example, the last pandemic, fear of the sickness, of dying, of the virus. You need to, so there is certain restrictions that were brought in 2020, and not everybody agreed with this. It's a different story. But these restrictive actions directly bombard your civic rights, your freedoms, under the cover of safety, of everybody's safety. Now, if you, and this was in the papers, if you tell people that the people that are unvaccinated are big danger to the vaccinated, doesn't make any sense. Because if you get vaccinated, you are protected, you should be, right? So if the person who is not vaccinated is a threat to you in a like health related issues, it doesn't make any sense. And telling people that, and there was, I think, in Toronto, one of the paper, that people who are not vaccinated are dangerous and they should die. See, if you see something like this, it's not funny, but it doesn't make any sense. So the media put the information. The problem also is with the media. What I noticed over the years, the media is telling not the facts, but their stories. The media should goal in society, function in society, is to report just the facts. Don't make up your own stories, because we don't need this. We have our own brain and we're going to digest this situation, and you don't make up the stories for us. Because what's happening, the stories might not be reflecting the reality. And each one of us is different, unique, and we can figure it out, but we only need the facts. So what I noticed is erosion of media. The media is not reporting the facts. That's no good, because people are listening and make their own opinion based on, might be on true story or fake story or made up story. This I noticed. It's what's happening, and it shouldn't be happening. We can go to social media now, but social media also, we have to be careful, because each medal has two sides. So it can be true, it can be false. And it's hard. It's hard to distinguish sometimes. The media was very, more authentic years ago, decades ago. And that was good, because we can rely on this and we can trust it. Right now, the trust is broken for many people. I'm not saying for everybody, but the trust is broken, and I don't trust them. So how trust can be earned back? Very hard. It can be. It's not impossible, but they have to start reporting facts, telling me the facts, not their stories, and I will go back and listen and watch and make my own decisions based on what they say. So that's erosion, and it plays a big role in shaping how we perceive what's happening in the world. So this is important, that the media is reporting just the facts.
Did you see this same pattern of media happening when you were in Poland?
Media in Poland was all propaganda. It
Okay.
was all fake. Maybe the weather was good. No, not always good weather, but we reported the weather, okay? But the rest of this, they had their own agendas. That's the problem.
Did people know it at the time?
Pardon me?
Did people know it at the time?
Yes, see, but the problem is that people, maybe they started to fool people a long time ago, generation, and then people found out, because they will find out sooner rather than later that they are lying and they have their own agenda and propaganda. So you know what happened? Nobody believed in nothing they say. That's no good. Because what are you saying this for? Nobody believes you anyway. And that's what the problem. No. So I am very serious. What it did, though, is it alert my senses to everything that I see or read, because it can be fake. And I learned it in Poland, and it might be somebody say, oh, yeah, it's over. She's overreacting because of this. No. I am just constant alert, especially when this is starting to happen in Canada. Big alert. So it's good to have this senses that I learned long time ago. Canada, US had a different system. It has capitalism, and it's still, I believe it has. So the media was pretty good reporting facts and everything. But when it started to just go down and confuse people and say that the problem also is with the global organizations that are around the world, because they say you need to put these measures. For example, World Health Organization says you need to put these measures because it's pandemic, so you need to lock the school, lock the people, lock. Do this, vaccinate everybody. Now, where is the data that proves that these vaccination work? The problem is, and after few years after this has all happened, we know that the vaccines were not tested for safety and efficacy. So why, if something is, what made me actually put on alert? If this is emergency medicine, you cannot force anybody. You can encourage, say, listen, this is emergency, we really are in trouble. This is what was done, how the vaccines were checked, and we know that much about it. We decided you should take it and take a look and see for yourself. That wasn't done like this. Nothing was told. Nobody told us what safety measures were done for these vaccines, how they work. And they say, you take it, have to take it because you die. No. So that's another problem, that non-government organization can be advising our government, but cannot force. And our government role is to give us the options. Say, listen, this is really good. We think that our Health Canada did this, and they show that blah, blah, blah. Health Canada did not check it. They didn't do anything, so why did they recommend it? See, that's what my problem. I'm not accusing anybody, but it's just that you need to be careful, because these are injectable substances that might cause trouble, and they did, as we know. So people need to be aware. How do you call this? You give you the information about, and you do the cautious decision yourself. You go or you don't. And you don't blame anybody, no government, no non-GNO, no non-government organization, nobody. You did it, you knew what you were doing, and that's it, despite of the consequences. But because this is not done, there is a pressure, too much pressure on our governments from the outside organizations. They just go along with the pressure, and they do what they were told, and they force us into some actions that we should not done if we were aware what is happening. That's wrong. That is kind of propaganda. It's not total propaganda, but it is kind of the same. I see the same mechanism as in a communist Poland. There were pressure, there were fear. You don't do this, we do this. No. So these are similarities.
So these similarities and patterns, how do you think that how do we shift them into strength as a society?
We have to know our foundation, as I said, and Canada has a good law foundation. Anything that is done against this foundation, and it violates our rights, need to be really looked at, and we have to learn from the history. Like, for example, from the last pandemic, we have to learn that we cannot do the same thing the next time this happens, because it didn't work. It didn't protect anybody. So we have to, and this needs to go to the government, to the health organizations in Canada. They have to put their own protocols in place, not influenced by any outside body, because outside organization, they can only advise. They can advise them, but it's up to our organization inside Canada, like Health Canada and government agencies in Canada, to study it and to see what's going to work and what isn't, based on experience. And that's how we strengthen our system. If we don't do it, if we don't see that anything was wrong with this, and we keep doing it, we're going nowhere.
It's interesting because you've come from Poland and you've had these experiences. Do your children, and do you think that this next generation from the people that immigrated, do you think that they have the same values or ideas as freedom and sovereignty?
Some of the values will be passed to my children and anybody that immigrated, but we have to also bring into consideration the fact that they are educated here. So we have to really look, politics and all of this is one thing that we have to keep looking at, but also the education system, because the value that they will be taught here are the value that they're going to inherit. Openness to other people, kindness from sociological perspective. And we need to make sure that taught proper subjects. Like I would introduce civic liberties subject into the schools. I teach them our basics, our laws, not like lawyers, but the basics. So they understand our foundation and what they can build on, that they do have solid foundation and they can build upon this. And we have to make sure we teach our children and not to indoctrinate them. So tolerance to other people, not to be prejudiced. I agree with this 100% because I said everybody is different, has unique skills, unique experience, and we cannot judge. And Jesus said, do not judge, you won't be judged. And he was right on that one. So this is good. Some of the elements might not be as good. So the program needs to be for everybody. Fundamental is to teach children the reading, writing, counting, critical thinking. They have to think. The school needs to teach them how to think. And there was the school under the system I was raised and born and raised, was teaching us this. We were critical thinkers. Before we jump into any conclusions, we were thinking. So that was good, actually. But what was bad was that even if you were a critical thinker and you knew things were wrong, you couldn't do much about it because they could put you into jail. They can trash you, torture you. So you couldn't do much against this system. And we don't want to end up in this, because when we do not, this is what's going to happen. It's going to create very unstable society. It's going to be that very few people on the top are going to be very rich, and the rest of us is not going to be middle class. The rest of us are going to be poor. And that is imbalance, as you can see. It's not going to work in the long term. It might work for some time. I don't know for how long. But the people who will be oppressed will not be happy. It's not going to be a stable society, as I said. It's sooner, rather later than sooner, but I don't know what to say. It's going to be some kind of commotion, and it's not good for anybody. We don't need a country and life that is like this, miserable, no freedom. And we in the 21st century, people are smart. They know what freedom is. They want it. They want to live well. They don't want to stop on each other. They don't, unless they're forced by some kind of circumstances that are created unequal society. They fight, and all of this wars, it's not necessary. No, if we go proper way, Canada is pretty peaceful though. So it shows that the democratic system that is here, it's pretty good. People don't fight. There's no wars, but we have to watch it. We have to keep it on the radar that it stays that way and it doesn't slip any way that we can be in trouble.
So how do you think we teach and raise the next generation to honor both individuality and their community?
We need to have subjects that address these problems in the schools. And as I said, teach based on facts. Do not indoctrinate people, children. Doesn't matter what the subject is. You need to be truthful, based on facts, based on experience, on history, on what is happening in the world, not on your own view and somebody outside of Canada, organization pressure. You can't do this. We have to stay as sovereign as a country. And this way, we're going to be staying sovereign as a citizen because it goes from the top to the bottom. Democratic society, actually, it is that people are on the top. And it looks like it's reversing. People are not on the top anymore. And that's the problem. Like, there is more people in this country than politicians, MPs, or NGOs. So who should be serving whom? They should be serving us, and that's how it's supposed to be. And in some way, they do. As I said, the speeding tickets are good.
I might disagree with that one,
I'm
Teresa.
not going to go deep into what's good, what's not good. But it needs to serve us as a society. The rules, the regulations, if they are needed to be created because the world is changing, like, for example, the security might be in danger, so they need to put more secure pieces of regulation in place. But none of this can touch your civic liberties and the base that is guaranteed by God and by the law that our precedents did. So that's the only. It's actually very simple. If you think about it, it's very simple. But in practice, it's not that simple because we don't follow certain rules, the rules that I'm saying. No contradiction laws bringing.
So what do civil liberties mean to you?
Civil liberties are all liberties that are in Bill of Rights, 1960, Section 1. This cannot be, I have to read this. Section 1, they cannot be override by anything. Zero, no bills of regulation can do it. So if anything, and I think it's right to property, life, liberty. So we have to be careful because property rights, which are in Bill of Rights, are attacked now. No, this isn't. We have to be careful what is done. So the judges in a Supreme Court will take a look and will decide what's really happening here. So I'm just watching this. But this is one example what our civic liberties are. The right to live, property, enjoyment of properties, and others, they cannot be overwritten. And it has to stay this way. Otherwise, we create society that is unstable. And it's going to be struggle. We're going to be struggling. And we don't want struggle. Struggle was all of my life when I was under this system. This was struggle for materialistic things. Even to go to the church for your faith. They didn't want it. Because priests were pretty clever at that time. And they were saying, the churches were the only places that you could have freedom. You could hear the free, independent voices and independent views, the God views, which are good because you don't hurt anybody by doing this or yourself, and you're staying in peace with yourself also. And that's very important. First, you have to be in peace with yourself, and then you can spread this peace, radiate this peace to others by following certain rules. Even if there are no gods in your life, you have these rules, then you're good.
Yeah. Well, I think that so much of what you have experienced, a lot of us could really learn from and take heed in that experience. Tell me, what are some ways that Poland has changed away from that model, or has it gotten more? Is it respecting civil liberties more now? What is the state of life in Poland now for your family and people back there?
Poland went from communism to capitalism. So they did switch, so that was good. Freedom became available to people. The civic liberties were preserved, like you could believe in anything as long as you follow the certain rules which aren't communistic rules. You can have a good life. The problem is that it didn't really go into true capitalism. The people that were communists switched to capitalism. So they become rich. They stay rich again. Now, the people that work for this to create the wealth of factories owned by government, anything that was owned by government, the people worked for it. So what they did with this, they privatized this. They sold it for a very small amount of money. But they sold it to different, I wasn't there, so I don't know the details, but in general, that's what happened. So maybe some Poles bought some of this and they're in prosperity and give jobs to other people. And from what I hear, my nephew told me that that his life is very good. He's 40. He's my sister's son. He said, and it is the best it could be until I remember. Like he was happy. He built his own house. He has a family. I don't know how it's going to move forward because of the war in Ukraine and how this is going to, what impact it's going to have on Polish people and the rest of Europe. So that depends on which way it goes. We'll see the outcome. But up to now, the civic liberties, the prosperity of the people were higher. Like they brought it to the good. There is also problem with European Union because yes, help to build infrastructure in Poland. Poland looks completely different. The Poland now and the Poland I left, much better from outside. If you take a look, the airports, the whole infrastructure is updated. It's nice, but there's always but. They have to be careful because now the European Union wants to impose restriction and their own rules on them. So again, force from outside Poland, they try to do their own agendas and propagandas. So some of them, this might be good, but you can't force anything. The moment you're forcing something on any country or any individual, it's no good. Doesn't matter what the purpose is. It's no good. You have to really go by the law, by the principle of the country, what they believe in. And then you can say, listen, I think it would be best for you to build more electric cars or whatever the subject is. And here is why. How are we going to do it and how are you going to benefit from it? They're not saying this. Who is benefit from what? So if you're imposing something on the country have to have interest in it. If it doesn't, it's not in the interest of the country and you have to go away. And this is what's happening right now. But I don't know the details, the insides of this. So I'm not an expert, but this is what I'm observing. The same mechanism I use it depends on. Sometimes it's European Union, sometimes it's a World Health Organization, sometimes it's another NGO organization, and then it's the authorities that they cannot overrule these countries. If they do, we don't have countries. We won't have any identities, any country identities of the individual identities. As I said, everybody is different. It produces a different country. The country has a different identity. If you try to impose global rules, you crashing on these identities. And you creating chaos and instability. And you don't want to do that. People don't want this. No one wants it. Why they do it, I don't know.
That's something that you know about freedom that you did not know when you left Poland.
Did not understand how the country foundation law. Well, even if I came here, I did not understand the country foundation law, how good it is, and it is very good. So I didn't understand this. Now I do, and this is mainly thanks to Jane Scarf. I have to admit, she changed my life. She opened my eyes, my horizons that way. So she's trying, I'm going to talk a little bit about her. She's a very courageous, very smart woman that really only tries to bring good to people and good to this country through lawful actions that for the events that how do you say, she gets a red light. When she gets a red light, and she has a good sensors, so when she sees it, she says, listen, this is because of this, and she explained very well. And she's not for anybody or against anybody. She is for the truth and freedom only. Nothing else. I didn't know this, but now I do. And this is very powerful because you know that this cannot be changed easily. You do not feel threatened. You know what your foundations are. So your house has the foundation. It's not going to fall apart that easily. The same here. But we have to preserve and keep moving forward with the actions and put safety mechanism in place. So we're not threatened. We're not in fear. We know that we are doing well and we're going the right path. And that's what she tries to tell people through her posts and videos and letters. And she also has a share club. She started it about a month ago. And it's a group of people that are really dedicated, like 15 minutes every day, to share her information, to spread the news, and to support her in the actions that she has. And for example, one of the action was sending letters to MPs regards the bill C28912 in support or rejection of these bills. And actually, you know what happened? The MPs responded to, I sent my MP the letter and he responded to every point I indicated. And he said, yes, this is a valid view. He agrees with this and he gonna vote against or for this bill. So it depends on what bill it is. And we have the voice heard through the MPs. So the government knows, no, people don't like it. We can't do it that way. And if we don't say anything, our MPs don't know if we want it or not. So they say, okay, nobody cares. Let's pass it easy. We're not going to fight. What is there fight for? Everybody likes it. So this is one of the actions that she did recently, but she does different things. I can give her an email address later, maybe, or you can put it in a
Yeah, we
video
can put
for
it.
people if they're interested. They can subscribe to this, and it's our share club. It's not her share club. It's whoever is participating have equal force and action that they can bring forward, and we can do it. So it's democratic.
We can include that in the show notes of the podcast for sure, Teresa. Yeah. So tell me, you've given us so much to think about in how you grew up, what you have experienced, maybe what we're experiencing here, and maybe some resolutions or solutions for it. Is there anything else that you would like to impart on us today or to share us about your story or your upbringing or anything that you think is relevant to Canada right now?
Each of us has unique experience and sees what's happening from their own perspectives based on what they carry, what history, what experience they have, what they carry with them. And each of us can contribute to a better society in a different ways. I would encourage people here to pay attention what's happening to your own country and try to see how you can help to make it more democratic, better in every way. Like we have business people, we have politicians, we have ordinary citizens like me and you. So from every level, we have to figure out what we can do and what tools we will use to accomplish our goal that this country do not slip into chaos, but evolve into a better democratic society that has the foundation of all of these acts and common law that is still valid in Canada, and how we can lawfully help our government to our politicians to achieve these goals. There is no one solution, but I would go from everybody's each angle point and it takes some time, but we don't know each of us. So there are ways to tell people to spread, basically tell the truth. Do not spread the bad news or fearful news. Even if it's fearful, you say as it is, and try to find give solution if you can to other people, because that's what Jane Scar does. She puts the problem and she says, this is the problem. So she analyzes the problem and she gives the solution. We can do this, or let's try and see how this is going to work. So just putting the fear, the news or the message that you put, like me, you, anybody, that creates the fear, it's no good. And I've seen a lot of news that are saying China-da. Canada is China-da. No, it's not. And I hope it's never going to be. So we have to make sure that we do spread truthful news, which is not always good, but we're not getting fearful from it. But we get empowered, analyze and empowered and do actions any way we can, to the best of our ability, to make sure that this country is growing and its people are growing, have opportunity for our children. It's freedom. It's respect of each of us. And that is hard work, but it can be very rewarding, and it's worth trying and never give up.
Well,
Never give up. Hard work and never give up. These are my two basic principles that I always follow, and it works. It doesn't matter. Even if you make a mistake here or there, and you think, oh, you learn from it, you try to recover. Sometimes you can't, so you have to move forward and do something else to help this what you screwed up, so what you messed up. So there are different ways to do it, and each of us has its own place. And it's not that I'm gonna sit or you're gonna sit or anybody's gonna sit. Oh, I'm just one person. What can I do? No. You're one person, and one person, as Marie Curie, could change the world. She was Polish Nobel Prize winner. She changed the world. It was only one person, and she was a woman in a very difficult time. I'm not talking politics here. I'm talking just how she made a change in a health, in a science. She was one. Yes, she was working with her husband, and some people say without her husband, she's nobody. Oh, no, very wrong statement. Her husband would be nothing without her. Let's put it that way, because she was the brain. And I'm not saying she was worse or better, but in conjunction, moved and discovered so wonderful things. They died from it. They killed them, actually, because it was radiation and they didn't know how bad it was at that time. But they changed the world. So one person can change the world. Look at Elon Musk. He's changing the world. Look at Steve Jobs. So saying, oh, I can do nothing. Yes, you can. It's not about on this level that we're going to create iPhones, but we're going to create something else that is good.
well, thank you so much, Teresa. You work hard and sorry, what was the last thing you said? Your motto was you work hard and
Work hard. Oh, God. What was it? Move forward. Work hard. Belief. Keep your beliefs. They're based on solid foundation. Doesn't matter if it's faith or if it's law, but it has to have a solid foundation. It's shaky won't work, because you'll be shaky, everybody will be around, will be shaky, and then that shakiness is going. It's spreading.
well,
So
thank
hard work, and trying. Even if you think you're failing or you failed, learn from it. Don't do the same mistake. Move forward.
Well, thank you for your words of wisdom, for teaching us perhaps a little bit of history that we didn't know, and for maybe recognizing some patterns that you have learned, and for your perspective and for your tenacity. And thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you for having me. And when you were doing the interview, you really put me into areas that I did not explore before, prior to having this interview with you. So that was also good, because it opens up different horizon, different perspective, point of view, how we can move forward and how we can make this country better.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.